Hello, Northlands students and staff. I wanted to take some time today to have a little talk with all of you about something that I'm sure all of you have been hearing in the media in recent weeks, namely vaccinations and/or testing. It goes without saying that the trajectory the discussions around those things have been on has been moving at a pretty rapid pace. We all know now that as it relates to vaccinations and testing that many non-essential services are going to require or are requiring right now proof of vaccination. And many other areas of our world, like ours, education, have already made moves on those fronts as well. I speak of the University of Saskatchewan, the University of Regina, and Sask Poly. So I come before you today to basically give you a heads up, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, as it relates to what we're hoping to do here at Northlands College and how it's going to roll out. My message to you today is one around the fact that there will be some things around these two items that are going to be coming down the pike real soon. At our last board meeting, I approached our board as it relates to these items and got an endorsement from our board as it relates to what we're hoping to do. Now, as it stands right now, it's really going to boil down to something very similar to what the big three have done, universities and Sask Poly. And when I say that, I mean it's going to come down to a choice of two options: providing voluntary proof of vaccination, and in the absence of that, or the refusal of that, submitting to regular testing. Now, I'm sure there will be questions around many things as it relates to this, but I'll give you the information around the things that I can today. The timeline and the tiniest of details regarding all of this, I will unveil next week. I wanted to give everyone a heads up this week, though. As it relates to not submitting to voluntary proof of vaccinations and then having to go the testing route, for our employees, the testing will be on your own time and own dime. Okay? So if you're an employee of Northlands College and you choose not to provide proof of vaccination, you will have to do the testing on the schedule or time frame that we're asking, and being responsible for the associated cost. For students out there that are wondering how that applies to them, if you choose to go the route of regular testing to begin with, we will cover the initial cost of testing, but I want to make it very clear right up front that we do not plan on covering the cost of testing indefinitely. So you might want to consider the vaccination route. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that obviously there are some rare cases of exemptions as it relates to vaccinations and so on and so forth. If you have a medical exemption, obviously we will honor it and work with you to arrive at a reasonable solution. Same thing is true if you have a religious exemption, and we'll come up with more of the details around that. But as I said, that would be probably a rare exemption in our case. We're a small college. Now, that being said, like I said, we're working out the logistics around these requirements and so forth, and the timeline. I would also be remiss, though, if I didn't say what I've said on a few occasions already since the beginning of our school year. If you're eligible, we strongly encourage all of you to get vaccinated. I'm responsible for the safety and security of every staff member and every student in our institution. And that's a responsibility that I don't take lightly. I take it very seriously. I take this no different than any other sort of occupational hazard or risk that may be in the workplace. And we always look to mitigate things and make things safer. This is more than a mitigation factor. This is a public health issue that needs to be addressed in the best way possible. A year ago, when we were talking about the things that are challenging us in the pandemic and so forth, we did not have a vaccination available to us. We had to do the best we could with the mitigation factors we had at the time. COVID isn't going away tomorrow, but with careful planning and good mitigation strategies, including things like vaccinations, we can start planning for a better day ahead as it relates to post-COVID. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't also address the question of potentially non-compliance. With a choice of this or that, we're making the assumption that everyone will choose this or that. We don't want it to come down to this or that for a long period of time, and we certainly don't want it to come down to I'm not taking either choice. If we get to a situation where we have individuals that are not taking either option, we will have to deal with that accordingly. And I say that in the context of our employees, and I say that also in the context of our students. I will be unfolding our total message, I guess, as it relates to this new policy moving forward, and I will be talking about how we will deal with non-compliance as well too. So on that note, I would like to close today by reiterating what I've said a few times already today. If you're eligible, please get vaccinated. We want our workplace and our place of learning to be the safest possible environment that we can provide. And the only way to do that is through large-scale vaccinations. And we're lucky. We have access to large-scale vaccinations. So let's get our case count down here in beautiful northern Saskatchewan to as low as we can. And let's get our vaccination rate up as high as we can. And basically, let's have Northlands College be a leader on that front, because I know we can be, and we have been in other areas many times before. Let's do that together. Let's say this is our next project together. I want to thank all of you for a wonderful start up to our academic year, and I want to thank everybody for all their hard work and attention to detail in terms of navigating our worlds through COVID here over the last year and a half. Until we speak again, my friends, Tansei, Mercy Cho, thank you.